The house near the lake. My name is Anna. I never believed in ghosts. I never believed that love could survive death. But last summer, everything changed. I had just finished college and wanted a quiet place to rest. My aunt owned a small wooden house near a lake, far from the city. She said, "You can stay there for the summer. It is peaceful. You will like it." The house was old. The wood was dark, and the windows made soft sounds in the wind. At night I could hear the water moving, like whispers from the lake. It was calm, but sometimes too calm. On the second evening, I went for a walk near the water. The moon was full, and the lake looked silver. I felt someone watching me, but the place was empty. I told myself it was just my imagination. Then I saw him. A boy about my age stood near the trees. His face was pale, and his clothes looked old, almost from another time. He watched me, but said nothing. When I blinked, he was gone. I tried to forget, but when I came back to the house, I found a rose on the doorstep. A red rose, fresh and wet with drops, as if it had just come from the lake. That night, I could not sleep. The floor made small noises. The wind touched the walls like soft hands. Around midnight, I heard music. A piano? The house had no piano. I opened the door to the living room. The air was cold. In the corner stood the same boy. His fingers moved above an invisible piano, and I could hear the soft, sad song. He looked at me. His eyes were deep and lonely, but there was something gentle in them. He whispered, "Do not be afraid." I wanted to scream, but I could not. I could only stand and look at him. The next day I asked the old woman from the nearest village about the house. Her face grew serious. She told me a story. "Many years ago," she said, "a young man lived there. His name was Daniel. He loved a girl from the village, but her parents did not approve. One night, they tried to run away across the lake. A storm came. The boat sank. The girl's body was found. Daniel's body was never found. People say his spirit waits near the lake. He brings roses. He plays her favorite song. Her words made my skin cold. Was the boy I saw Daniel? Was his spirit still here? That night, I found another rose, and when I looked into the mirror in my room, I saw him standing behind me. My heart was beating fast, but for some reason, I was not afraid. His eyes were full of sorrow, but also something else, something that felt like love. And deep inside, I knew this was only the beginning. The roses and the song. The next morning, the lake looked quiet. The sun was bright, the water calm, and birds sang in the trees. It was hard to believe that the night before I had seen a ghost. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe my mind was tired. But then on the table in the kitchen, I found the rose. The same red rose I had left near the mirror last night. I never brought it there. My hand shook when I touched it. I told myself, "Do not be afraid." Maybe it is just a strange trick, but deep inside, I knew Daniel was real. That evening, I stayed inside. I lit a candle and sat near the window. The lake was silver again under the moonlight. The wind moved the trees. For a long time, nothing happened. Then I heard the music again. The same sad piano song. It came from the living room. When I went there, Daniel was waiting. He stood near the wall, silent, watching me. His eyes looked soft and full of pain. "Why are you here?" I whispered. He answered slowly, like the words were heavy. "I wait. I wait for her." I knew who he meant. The girl who died in the storm. His lost love. My heart hurt for him. "I am not her," I said. He closed his eyes. For a moment, he looked almost human, not a ghost. Then he whispered, "I know." The candle moved as if someone breathed on it. The air grew cold. Still, I was not afraid. My fear was smaller than my sadness for him. That night, I dreamed of the lake. The water was dark, and hands came from under the surface, pulling me down. I heard Daniel's voice calling my name. I woke up shaking, my hair wet with sweat. On the pillow beside me lay another rose. Day after day, the same things happened. Roses appeared in the house. Music played when the moon rose. Sometimes I saw Daniel in the mirror, sometimes near the lake, and each time I felt something stronger. He was not only a ghost, he was someone who needed me, someone who looked at me like he had always known me. But in his eyes, I also saw danger, because love from the dead is never simple. And I began to wonder, what if he did not just want to remember his lost love? What if he wanted me to stay with him forever? The storm in the night. The days passed slowly. Every morning I told myself that I should leave the house. It was not safe to stay. Strange things happened here, and no one would believe me if I tried to explain. But every evening, when the sun went down and the moonlight touched the lake, I stayed. Why? Because of him. Because of Daniel. He appeared almost every night now. Sometimes he stood near the window, looking out at the water. Sometimes he sat in the chair by the fireplace, though no fire burned there. And sometimes he played that invisible piano, his fingers moving on the air, while I listened to the sad song. I tried to speak with him. At first he said very little, just short words. Wait, or remember, or her. His voice was soft, almost broken, like it came from far away, but slowly he began to say more. He told me about the girl he loved. Her name was Clara. They used to meet at the lake when the world was quiet. Her parents did not want them together, but they dreamed of running away. One night they took a boat. A storm rose suddenly. The boat sank. Clara's body was found the next morning. Daniel's body was never found. As he spoke, I could see the pain in his face. His eyes looked empty, but when he spoke Clara's name, there was light in them. I wanted to comfort him, but how do you comfort a ghost? Daniel, I whispered one evening, you are still here because of her. But she is gone. He looked at me with such sadness. I cannot leave, he said. The lake holds me. The night holds me. After that night, things grew darker. The weather began to change. The days were heavy with clouds, and the nights came faster. One evening, rain started. The sound of water on the roof was loud, almost angry. The lake looked black, like it was waiting for something. I tried to sleep, but around midnight, I woke. The room was full of cold air. My window was open, though I had closed it before bed. On the floor, in a small circle, lay 5 roses. Their petals were wet, as if taken from under the rain. And then I heard the music again, but this time, the song was not soft and sad. It was sharp, wild, like the storm on the lake. I went into the living room. Daniel was there, but he looked different. His eyes were brighter, almost burning. His hands moved quickly, as if he was fighting with the invisible piano. Daniel, I called. Stop, please. He looked at me, and for a moment I saw not only sadness in his eyes, but anger. His voice shook the room. She left me. She let go. But you are here. I froze. His words scared me. Did he see me as Clara? Did he want me to replace her? The storm outside grew louder. The house shook in the wind. The candle I lit blew out, and the room was dark except for the pale moonlight through the window. Daniel stepped closer. His face was pale, but his eyes were alive. He reached out his hand, but when I tried to step back, I could not move. My feet felt heavy, as if the floor was holding me. Stay, he whispered. Stay with me. Forever. At that moment, lightning struck the lake. The sound shook everything. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, he was gone. The roses on the floor had turned black. I ran to the window and looked outside. For a second, I saw him standing on the shore, his face turned toward the water. Then the rain covered everything, and he disappeared. I was shaking. I knew now that he was more than just a lonely spirit. His love was deep, but it was dangerous. It was a love that wanted to hold me, even if it meant I could never leave. That night, I did not sleep, and for the first time I wondered if the house wanted me here too. The whisper at the window, the storm ended by morning. The lake was calm again, but the house felt different. The walls were wet and the air smelled of roses. Dark petals still lay on the floor, as if they had grown from the wood itself. I tried to leave. I packed my bag and walked to the door. But when I touched the handle, I heard a whisper. Anna. My name, soft and cold. I froze. The window glass moved, though the air was still. Slowly, I turned my head. Daniel stood outside, watching me. His face was pale, his eyes deep and full of sorrow. A single red rose pressed against the window, though his hand did not touch it. My heart beat fast. I should have opened the door and run. But instead I stayed, because in his eyes, I saw something more than fear. I saw a love that did not want to die. And I knew. I was already part of his world. On my last night at the lake, the house was silent. No storm, no music, only the soft sound of water outside. I thought maybe Daniel had finally gone. But when I looked at the table, I saw one last rose. Its petals were bright red, glowing in the moonlight. Beside it lay a note, written in shaky letters. Thank you. You gave me one more summer. Now I can rest. And sometimes when the night is quiet, I still hear the sound of a piano, far away across the water.